Hi, everybody. I know we're having lunch, but we would like to start our keynote panel. So if I could have your attention, please, we're going to bring up our distinguished guests. And I'm going to stand over here while they come up. Our moderator is Suzan Deison. She's the CEO, president, founder of Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce. Please give her a big welcome. Thank you, Suzan. If you are not a member, please become a member. Look into what they do. They do incredible things. And then we have a beautiful panel today. I don't know if, hopefully y'all have been attending the panels and getting a lot of great information. And, you know, you have people that you don't have access to at these events. And so it's important that you show up. It's great that you're here. And this is the time to listen, take the jewels from them that they're dropping for you, and then ask any and all questions that they have. Let's welcome Tamala Austin, CEO of J.I.V.E Juice Company, Inc. Let's welcome Juliet Breeze, Dr. Juliet Breeze, MD, CEO of Next Level Medical. And also Julie Huang Yim, she is the CEO of Texas Engineered Aluminum and Manufacturing Corporation. Thank you all for being here.
Wonderful. Well, gosh, you are in for a treat now. This is really Houston's entrepreneur royalty sitting on stage up here. So you're very lucky to be able to hear their stories. And I know we're going to be very honest and share challenges too. So everybody in the audience that probably is experiencing some of the challenges that you've had, we want to help them and share how you solved your problems. So we want to start with asking you to each give a 90-second overview. I know that's going to be impossible, but if you could introduce yourself, and we're going to start alphabetically. So Tamala, would you start?
Hello, thank you for allowing me to be here. Thank you, Suzan. My name is Tamala Austin. I am the CEO of J.I.V.E Juice Company. I am also the business outreach manager for Harris Health System for minority and women-owned businesses.
Right. Juliet?
Wow, that was a really short 90 seconds. Okay. I'm Dr. Juliet Breeze. I am the founder of Next Level Medical. We have 51 clinics under management in Texas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and Beaumont right now, and expanding. And our services include urgent care, advanced primary care, mental health, and other things. And I'm delighted to be here and especially appreciative of being on stage with these women who I admire greatly.
Okay, Julie, you're up.
Am I? I was just kidding. I just wanted to thank everyone for having me. My name is Julie Huang Yim. I'm the CEO of Team Corp, even though that's a long name over there. It is short for Team Corp. So I actually have been with the Chamber about 6-7 years, and I'm so honored because I was just like you, sitting in the audience, listening, learning, and now I'm up here. So very, very honored.
Great. Well, Juliet, let's start with you. Your journey is so inspiring to all of us that know you, and I'm anxious for the audience to get to know you better too as well. We'd love to hear the story of what inspired you to start Next Level Urgent Care and how it's evolved into a game changer in the healthcare industry.
Thank you. So I always tell people that I start businesses when I get mad about something. And so I was about now 10 years ago, I got mad because I ended up in a freestanding emergency room with my son who had gotten hurt on a Saturday. And his pediatrician wasn't open, and I felt like I needed to bring him in to get checked, but I knew it wasn't life-threatening, and it was a fairly quick visit. In fact, it was an amazing visit. We had a lovely experience. The place was great. But the bill, as many of you might know, was enormous. And I got mad about the fact that something that I knew as a primary care physician would have not been very expensive if it had happened on a Monday or a Tuesday between 8 and 5 was extremely expensive on the weekend. So I decided to put up some centers that people could trust that would be affordable and would be open after hours and on the weekends for that kind of care, non-life-threatening care. That's how we started, but what was really interesting along the way was we started realizing that there were other problems to solve in healthcare, and one of the biggest ones was that people have really stopped getting care that they need or should get because of the cost of co-pays and deductibles, and people are just frankly coming in later in their stages of disease because they have foregone care that they could have gotten that would have made them healthier. So we actually started using our facilities that we had already built and added a membership that employers could buy for their employees that allowed them to get primary care, mental health services, virtual care, and other types of health care. And so, again, identifying problems and coming up with solutions that make sense for the communities and the customers we serve.
And did you share how many employees you have now? I mean, it's
I have
amazing.
880 employees,
Oh,
and
amazing.
don't clap about that. More people, more problems. It is a lot, yeah.
That's right. And Julie, you're in a very, very male-dominated industry, manufacturing. Please share with us what led you to the decision to enter this industry.
I love talking about this subject because usually I am the only woman in the conference room. So I started with this recycling company. We were, dealing with FedEx and Gallery Furniture, just doing their recycling program. And I was the first VP for 20 years. It was all male dominated. And so I was just like, why not? Let me just try it. And they accepted me, thank goodness. And then after that, I started thinking, well, if I can do this, why not start businesses I can do? So then I got into manufacturing. And I do have notes here just because this is my first panel, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I need notes. So yeah, and I wanted to lead by example. Right? So because it's not really heard of a CEO of a manufacturing company, I haven't really met one, and I really would love, if you have any contacts, I would love to meet them because we definitely need this sector to do more in Texas. So, I want to lead by example in this industry, basically showing that, yeah, there's a lot of challenges. You're gonna see a lot of people that are gonna not believe in you, but you have us, you have me, you can do this. So, yeah.
That's great. It's wonderful. So at Thanksgiving, how many of y'all used the aluminum pan for your turkey?
Who used
Okay.
aluminum
You gotta
pans?
thank Julie. She made them. So
You
great.
probably have used my pans, you just don't know it. So the holidays are coming up. Feel free to use my pans.
Right. And Tamala, we all love to hear the inspiring stories, just like we've heard, of how women are using a personal challenge to motivate them to start a business. And so please share your journey with us.
Well, my journey began during a time when I was recently laid off from corporate America. I'd been in oil and gas for over 20 years, and I found myself as a single mom, laid off and having some health challenges, having to deal with hypertension, and I wanted to find a natural way to help combat it, to help also with the bills, responsibilities, and not being able to get to the doctor's office, as Dr. Juliet mentioned, as frequently as I used to when I did have the insurance coverage. And so I started juicing. I started doing research about certain fruits and vegetables that could help me with my hypertension, as well as, using as meal replacements and still getting the nutrition that I needed for my body. And at that time, having a middle school age daughter, it was a little challenging because I'm like, okay, what I eat, you got to eat. We got to do this together. We got to change our lifestyle. So it began, and we knew we were making juices in our kitchen. We used social media to help get our word out, and just being open and transparent and sharing my story, that I started to really see the results. I also went to a cardiologist here in Houston that uses food and juices to treat his patients instead of medicine. So as I went to sit up under him and study and observe and learn, it just became something that I knew I needed to do, and that I could help myself and my daughter as well.
Wonderful. We're going to hear more about that in just a little bit. Juliet, I know there's not a week that goes by that we don't read something in the newspaper about something that's happening in the healthcare industry. And I know there's going through COVID. I saw it firsthand with you of what a challenge that was, being with Next Level and leading that. But how do you stay innovative and adapt to changing market trends in your industry?
Well, I do a lot of reading, and I think it's extremely important to figure out what the best sources of information are. And one of the most important things that we've done as a team is I've had different members of my team focus on different segments. So I have a director of clinical innovation, and he spends all his time meeting with healthcare tech companies, talking, going to industry meetings, networking that way. I have a medical director who spends her time with making sure that we're up to date on the CDC and all of the things that are coming out there. And then I personally have subscribed to a bunch of newsletters with industry, like up and coming information, because the last thing you want as a healthcare provider is to be behind the times. You don't want to be treating people with yesterday's medicines. So it is quite a lot, but I think the biggest advice is, no matter what industry you're in, you should be using your team to amplify your ability to do basically anything.
Love that. So, Julie, Houston has been a center for world-changing innovations in energy, life sciences, and aerospace for decades. With science and engineering breakthroughs ingrained in the fabric of Houston's economy, the region has become a thriving hub of digital technology, talent, and companies. What role does innovation play in your industry and for entrepreneurs in general?
That is a little bit of a complicated question, but I'm just saying, the whole technology nowadays, it is hard for us to really catch up. But before I say anything, I want to just say that Julia is my mentor. So whatever she said earlier, even though we're in different industries, right? I'm manufacturing aluminum foil pans. I don't know if that's exciting. But, for the healthcare, every business really has its own structure. Here goes my notes again. So, in terms of, this is a huge topic. That's why I really wanted to have notes on here, because in terms of, robotics and manufacturing and AI, this is all new to us, right? But if you think about it, we actually, from a manufacturing standpoint, we've been doing robotics for a while. We just haven't applied the whole AI to it. But what we are in terms of, my board and everyone on the team, so we have about, 250 employees just total globally. Everyone understands that it's going to be a transition, and we do need to set policies surrounding these innovations. Even though, quick story, we had a San Antonio trip, back and forth, and one of my investors couldn't speak English, and he had an AI, like a headset, and whatever you're speaking, it's going and translating. So we're getting to that age of really we can talk to everyone in the world. So I am open to it, but I would really suggest everyone do your due diligence. This is so important. You don't want to get it out of hand. So Thank you.
Tamala, I know everybody in this room that has a product only dreams of being in H-E-B and Whole Foods. And you are the first African-American woman to have products in both stores. So tell us about the journey and how you developed the relationship with them.
As I stated earlier, the journey began by using social media. Whole Foods found me on social media and asked me if I would be interested in going into their store, which is the 360 on Yale, 610 in Yale, which is where we first started. And at that time, you know, it was like we were just doing about 100 bottles making juices, and we had about 21 different flavors. So I had to, you know, reduce that and find a way to be able to find a co-packer. But I tell my mentees, anyone that I work with, you have to be careful at what you post daily, what persona you want people to see of you, what image, your character, everything is built into that, and it is important because you never know who's watching you. And for that major accomplishment to come to me through a DM off of Instagram, I was like, wow, is this real? But yeah, and I met with the team, told them that I was a small company that made juice out of my home. They gave me a deadline as to when I would need to have the juices ready to go into the stores. Had no idea, you know, about UPC codes, the GS1, all of the shelf life testing I had to do through A&M, and what all it took to get that product ready to go live. But they gave me a timeline, and I met that deadline.
Wow, congratulations. Juliet, everybody that knows you know how committed you are to giving back, and how just being here today says a lot about you too as well. But please share with the audience. I know entrepreneurs are so busy and they have so much, you know, running a business, but how important is developing relationships in the community, and how has it helped you in your personal and professional life?
Well, this turns out to be a pretty timely question, because I was just telling Susan, so when I started the business, I actually didn't understand a lot about how important networking was, and I kind of thought that the service should speak for itself, and I'll just put it out there and we'll see how it goes. But I ended up fortuitously meeting someone who said, you really need to be involved with the Greater Houston Women's Chamber. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I really don't want to do that. First of all, I'm busy, and also it's going to be a bunch of ladies, and I don't know, you know, will they like me and all that. But I did go to an event, and I realized that, oh my gosh, there's a community of women in business who are supporting each other and want each other to succeed, and that was just mind-blowing to me, because I just hadn't experienced that before. And honestly, I wasn't exactly sure how to harness the the potential of those relationships, but I just started attending. I just started going and meeting people, and got involved in some of the groups. And one of the groups that I got involved with was something called Thought Leaders, and it was a group of a fairly small number of women who were in higher level positions in their companies, and they just got together and got to know each other really well. And the contacts and the incredible opportunities that came out of that group and are still coming out. I actually made one of my current best friends in the world through that interaction, and I just last week hired one of the women who was in that group as my new CFO. So you never know when things are gonna happen for you, and I just have figured out that, and it's not obviously just women. I have now expanded into industry groups and men and group with men and women. But I will say that the support that I got from the Greater Houston Women's Chamber really has not been matched yet as in my career.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Well, gives me chills to think about all of you. So I know we're talking a lot about starting the business, and there's so many mistakes that entrepreneurs make. So Julie, why don't you share some things that maybe you experienced that might help someone else not make that same mistake?
Yeah, so I believe that is why I'm put on this earth, because I made so many mistakes. But what you do is what? Learn from it, apply the right strategy, and then do it again. So a lot of the times that, like I was talking to Juliet, why is she my mentor? Even though we're in a different sector, but there's a lot of very similarities in businesses that we have challenges with. And with the Greater Houston Chamber of Commerce, like, let's just be real. I don't know when bills will pass or things that are gonna, as a business owner, I don't know things, I can't keep up, right? But it's so nice to have an organization that helps you with that. So a lot of the challenges, honestly, I am a very big connector. I don't know if you can feel my energy, but I'm just all about connecting people. Why? Because we're all good at what we're good at. So I don't know about healthcare, I'm gonna call her. And I don't know about how a chamber works, I'm gonna call Suzan, It's just really connecting that would be the solution. But the challenge in the beginning is kind of tough because you gotta network, you gotta go to all the events, but it's worth the time.
Right, thank you. And Tamala, I know you touched a little bit on social media. What an amazing story. But share with us, I understand that one of the grocery chains found you through social media. So tell us about that.
Yes, as I mentioned, social media has been the plethora for my business, helping us to advance and building a rapport, being able to, when you're starting off in this business on your own as a small business, as a single mom, and, not working, you don't have no budget. You're really just trying to see how can you get it out there. And at that time, Facebook, before all the ads came and Instagram ads, I would just do the posting, making sure that my content was there, staying consistency, and making sure that what I post matched what I was trying to convey every day. No foolishness, no time for that. It's all about showing people that you can be healthy, how to make healthy meals, how to make juices. That was a part of my plethora the other day, and staying consistent. I had a time at 10 o'clock, I was posting every morning at 10 a.m. 12 p.m., I was posting every day, and it allowed me to really get people curious, wanting to know, how do you do this? Can you do this for me? So as a single mom, I put my daughter to bed. I'd be delivering all over Houston till 4 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and just making sure that I kept up with the demands.
Wow, amazing. Yeah. That's right. Well, I know all of us laugh when we hear anybody talk about work-life balance. I don't know that it really exists, but Juliet, as a business owner, a wife, a mother, and a dog owner, a friend, how in the world do you manage both without feeling guilty about neglecting one or the other?
Wait, who said I don't feel guilty?
No guilt.
I think that if you are sitting there trying to pretend that there can be balance, maybe somebody somewhere has reached balance at one moment in their life, but honestly, I started to give myself permission to go all in on one thing or another and not try to pretend that I could keep it all in balance. Sometimes I have to be all there for my family, and I have to put work on hold for a moment. Sometimes I have to be all there for work, and my family has to get it. And so I'm very lucky. I have a very supportive family. My family, one of the tricks that I had of trying to achieve balance was basically making my entire family part of this project. So when I founded the company, my kids were fairly little, and they would come out with me to health fairs, and they would blow up balloons and give them out, and they were giving out all the swag. My mom, I brought her. She still has blisters from all of the things that she was handing out. And so all of my kids have actually come and worked at one time or another. I gave them all jobs in the company because I wanted them to understand who I was and what was important to me, and honestly, it brought us together. My husband still works in the company, helping me out. So basically what I did was I kind of just rigged it so that when I was spending time at work, I was also spending time with my family, and that's probably the best advice I can give, is just try to bring everybody together. That's it.
What a great strategy. I love it. And I know Alexis has a leadership role too now there. I'm excited. So I know, Julie, I've talked candidly a little bit, when you start as an entrepreneur, you're, the sole person there. But as you grow, you might have a board of directors. And I know, how would you advise someone to have a leadership role among a board of directors and still have ownership of your company?
Boundaries. And why I just say that word is because everyone, let's just say, be really candid, like how I've been, is that these people are giving you money. Are they not? They're giving you money so you can be successful. But they have a different mindset because you're running your business. They don't know how you're running the business. They have expectations. So the board has expectations. This is actually literally happening right now. We are doing our U.S. expansion in Texas. I'm very, very excited. But at the same time, our board will be like, I need this by tomorrow. But this is 8 p.m. So I don't know if anyone's working. So working with them, I would say, first of all, patience. And then second of all, every single board members honestly has different goals and different wants and needs. And I really try to do one-on-one so then I can understand. There's a big picture, I get it, we all want to make money, but what is your individual goal so then I can meet those goals.
So Tamala, why don't you share advice that you would like to inspire everybody as they're finishing up their lunch?
Definitely want to say that one of the greatest tools that I think as far as entrepreneurs that we can have is being able to have mentorship. Someone who's either in the field you're working in or just someone who you consider to be successful. It may not be in your field, but you want to have someone that you can call that shares your ideas, that has your passion, that sees where you're trying to go, to be able to provide you that information. And oftentimes, it doesn't always come from your family. It's someone outside, because family sometimes can be a little hard to convince or to see where you're trying to go, especially if they haven't done it. I know for me, for my generation, I'm the first in my family to step out and start a business with no blueprint, having no example, just jumping out here and doing it. And so it's always good to have mentorship. And then surround yourself with the educational tools that are out here. As we said, Houston is a diverse city. There are a lot of educational programs that are out here, from the Houston Community College, University of Houston, free programs that you can take advantage of that will allow you to plug into, to get into the e-commerce of entrepreneurs, to be around that mindset so that you can start changing the way you think and see how others are operating. And then you want to network. Come out to events such as this. The Icon has events. I mean, there's a list of events. You can go and Google Houston, what's happening, and see that there are a plethora of events where entrepreneurs are. You want to connect and get in that space and challenge yourself around like-minded people.
That's right. And I know TWU's in the audience here, so go by their booth. I know they can share a lot of the opportunities that they offer too as well. So Juliet, why don't you round out with your advice to entrepreneurs in the room?
Well, I would definitely second everything Tamala just said. That's great advice. But I also would say that, as an entrepreneur, you have to move quickly. And I've seen a lot of people get stuck in the analysis phase. They have a fantastic idea, and they just don't pull the trigger. So my advice is twofold. One is pull the trigger. The worst that's gonna happen is you fall on your face, but actually you always get up. It's not fatal. So go for it if you have a great idea. My second piece of advice is quit while you're behind. So if you find out that your great idea was misconceived, or it's not going the way you thought it was going to go, don't be so committed that you can't pivot. Because I found in my career that I had almost a good idea. It was like a pretty good idea. And once I got out there, I really had to make some pretty big changes to make it a great idea. And so I would definitely advise anyone who is thinking about starting their own business or in their own business to always be evaluating, am I going down the right path, or have I just got blinders on, and maybe I need to quit while I'm behind or pivot to something that might make a little more sense. And that's all I've got for you.
I love it. I love it. Do we have time for a couple of questions? Okay. Have questions from the audience? Yes.
Does anyone have an idea or feeling about the businesses that are small businesses that are all over the social media advertising to help out us business owners?
So the question was advertising on social media?
Do you feel these companies are giving us the proper, I guess they're trying to advertise their business to try to get our businesses going. So I've talked to several of them myself and had, video conference calls with them. But what do you feel about those groups?
Well, I mean, so I know what you're talking about. I have had only one experience with a business that was advertising that they would help explain and help me to get government contracts, right? I had no experience with that. I didn't understand it. And it was a business that was advertised on the web. And I thought, this is either going to be great or I'm going to lose all my money on this one. So honestly, I think that, there's both out there. There's certainly some really suspect businesses on the web advertising their services. But in my case, it wasn't, they advertised that I was going to be able to pick up all kinds of contracts, and that really wasn't what happened. But I will say that I got a lot of really valuable advice from doing that, and maybe it was, I would say it was a kind of a break even on, I got great advice, I maybe paid a little bit too much for it. So I would be, caution to the buyer on those things.
Are you thinking about yourself too, of advertising to other? I know you're trying to start your business of speaking.
Yeah, well, I've been doing it for a while, but I did also invest in my speaking training. Then I had it back in college, so I really enjoyed it. It was more for networking, basically.
Sure.
But it was a $7,000 networking experience.
Oh, that's great. I know I saw another hand over here.
One more over here.
Where? Oh,
Yes, hello, thank you. Other than joining the Women's Chamber of Commerce of Business, participating in the events, can you speak more about the first steps of certification of women-owned business? Any specific websites, links, or organizations?
I will share with you, you do not have to join to get help from the chamber. Shayla, stand up. We have a grant from the U.S. SBA, and so she'll sit down with you and help you in the process. So you do not have to join. So I will answer that, but you may have another answer too to add to it.
Well, there's several different organizations that will certify you. And so you may want to do a little bit of research and see which one makes the most sense, might be the fastest. And I know Shayla probably has some really good advice for you on that. I actually had one organization that didn't work for me, and then I moved to another one, and it worked just perfectly. So I think it's one of those things where do your research. It's certainly, especially if you're going to be doing business outside of the state or across the state, there may be some that are better than others.
Nice.
We have time for one more.
Other question? Okay, one more.
Yes, good afternoon. Just like Juliet Brady just mentioned about doing business locally or outside of state. Now I'm going to talk about international, locally and international. And I'm focusing in tourism and culture. How can we gain joint venture where we are requesting funds from United States and partially being used overseas to promote the tourism, for instance, in Africa.
I can kind of speak on that just because our company is global. The biggest thing I would say would be you would want to, first of all, the network, that's why we're here, right? Networking is going to be like the most important part because a lot of times you go to, like if you don't understand everything that is going on that you need internationally, there's a lot of organizations like back when I was doing plastics manufacturing, I worked with U.S. Commercial Services, and they were really helpful of like what you need. So I would go through those channels just because they are doing import, export, and things like that. They do really want to export American-made products to international like export, but they also have all that information. So I would start with the U.S. Commercial Service just because they have all of these international footprint and knowledge already, if that helps.
And Brian, doesn't your office have educational opportunities for doing business internationally?
We do have a tourism office, and we do have an international group that does take small businesses on international mission tours, and then they have a wealth of information there. We do have the office in Mexico City to help there, and then I believe we are established one, Jarvis, correct me if I'm wrong, in Asia this year. The legislature this year actually accounted for some funds they had previously approved it. They've gotten the funds now, and they're establishing an office in Asia now to help our small businesses do business with Asia.
That's great. Well, we can't thank you enough again for taking the time to be here. I know y'all were busy and you're probably thinking of, gosh, what am I going to do on the way back, and calling everybody, returning calls. But it says so much about you to care about the other entrepreneurs in the room. So thank you again for being here. Let's give them all a big round of applause. So
Thank you.
Natalie?